Is the movie Song of the South banned in the US? Of course not. It's a Disney movie after all. There's no profanity, nudity, sexual situations, or violence. So why hasn't it been seen or sold in the US for almost 4 decades? Well, that's where the story gets interesting. You see, Song of the South stars a free black man named Uncle Remus and is set in Georgia just after the Civil War and right after slavery has been abolished. It was based on Joel Chandler Harris's collection of African American folk tales, which were published in 1881. Now, here's where it gets tricky, as Uncle Remus works on a southern plantation, and it's never really shown that he is a free black man until near the end of the movie. In fact, the movie makes it appear that all of the African Americans in the movie are happy workers and are there only to help make the rich white people have better lives. Newcomer Dalton Raymond was tapped by Walt Disney to write the script for the movie. Raymond was a professor at Louisiana State University and had a reputation as an authority on the Old South, but Disney feared that Raymond might have too much of a white Southern slant, so he hired Maurice Rafft to help with the script. In a later interview, Rafft said that he told Disney that he shouldn't make the film because it's going to be an Uncle Tom movie. Disney told him, "That's exactly why I want you to work on it, because I know that you don't think I should make the movie. You're against Uncle Tomism and you're a radical." Rafft didn't want to work on an animated movie, but when he found out it was mostly live action and he could make a lot of changes, he agreed to take Walt up on his offer. He worked on the script for about 7 weeks, but when he had a major conflict with Raymond, he was taken off the film. Rafft said Disney didn't make it clear that the film wasn't about slavery and that it was set during Reconstruction. In my script, I had the white family poverty-stricken. That's a lot different from what you see on the screen. Their house in the film is immaculate, very white. It's a white mansion on a plantation. The women wear different dresses every time you look at them. I indicated in my script very clearly that they should be threadbare because they lost the war. In the movie, 7-year-old Johnny, played by Bobby Driscoll, travels to his grandmother's plantation with his parents. When they get there, Johnny's father leaves to go home. His parents, he finds out, are separating, and Johnny must stay with his grandmother for an extended time. In Rafft's version of the script, though, the whole reason for the father leaving Johnny in the first place is very different. In his version, the father leaves because he hasn't enough money to pay the people who are working there. He goes to Atlanta to earn some money so he can pay the people who work on the farm. The father in Rafft's script even says, "We gotta pay these people, they're not slaves." In the movie, when Johnny tries to run away and go back with his father, he's stopped by Uncle Remus. Uncle Remus tells Johnny a story about Brer Rabbit and the time he tried to run away from his problems and only created bigger ones. Johnny listens to Uncle Remus's stories about Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, and Brer Bear and learns how to deal with his own problems by listening to the stories. Directed by Harv Foster and Wilfred Jackson, Song of the South was produced by Walt Disney and distributed by RKO Radio Pictures in 1946. James Baskett plays Uncle Remus in his final movie role. He had responded to an ad to supply the voice of a talking butterfly in Walt Disney's movie. But after Walt heard Baskett's voice, he wanted to meet him in person, and he hired him on the spot. Baskett was hired not only for the voice part of the butterfly, but also the voice of Brer Fox, as well as the live-action part of Uncle Remus, making him the first live actor employed by Walt Disney. Walt Disney had always wanted to make an Uncle Remus movie as he was very familiar with the stories from his childhood. After negotiating with the Harris family for film rights, Song of the South finally started production in 1944. Some scenes were filmed in Hollywood, but Disney also built a real plantation set in Phoenix, Arizona for the outdoor scenes. The movie is mostly live action, but does feature some great scenes which were a combination of live action and animation. The animators themselves were incredibly proud of the work they had done for the movie, and some considered it to be the best animation work of their lives. Song of the South opened in Atlanta in November 1946 and had a successful run in theaters. Ironically, Baskett and the African American cast members couldn't join Walt Disney and the white cast members at the movie's premiere in Atlanta because Atlanta was a segregated city in 1946. African Americans weren't allowed in a movie theater or any other public building in town. Baskett himself earned an honorary Academy Award in 1948 for his portrayal of Uncle Remus, but died later that year from complications of diabetes. The song Zippity Doo Dah won the 1948 Academy Award that year for Best Original Song. This catchy song about looking up at the sunny side of life was written by Ali Rubel and Ray Gilbert and was the second Disney song to receive this award, following Pinocchio's When You Wish Upon a Star in 1940. The phrase Zippity Doo Dah was supposedly coined by Walt Disney himself, who was fond of nonsensical phrases, like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo from Cinderella in 1950, and Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious from Mary Poppins in 1964. That's according to Disney historian Jim Korkis. Author Ken Emerson believes the song is influenced by the pre-Civil War folk song Zip Coon, a variation of Turkey in the Straw. I'll leave a link to both songs in the description below, and you can judge for yourself. Even though it was successful when first released, Song of the South has been controversial since it first came out. Critics say the way it characterizes African Americans is racist. Outside of the Paramount Theater in downtown Oakland, a group of protesters picketed the movie. The year was 1947, and the protesters included both black and white people, as well as young and old. The movie was then picketed in big American cities like New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Boston. The last time the movie was seen in general theater release was when Disney put it back in theaters in 1986, when it had another successful run. Since the last theatrical showing of Song of the South, Disney has tried to forget that it ever even existed. They have never put Song of the South on their streaming service Disney Plus or any other home video format in the United States. When Disney Plus was preparing to go online, CEO Bob Iger told Disney stockholders that they would put the entire Disney catalog online. That is, with one exception. You guessed it, 1946's Song of the South. Bob called the film fairly offensive and said not to expect its release anytime soon, if ever, although the entire movie has been sold commercially in other countries. The movie is not banned in the US, but the Walt Disney Company has decided to voluntarily take it out of circulation. Song of the South was ahead of its time, not only because it mixed live action and animation, but also because it showed black and white children playing together as equals, and told a story where the African American characters are wise and caring, while the white characters are often cruel, insensitive, or dysfunctional. For now, you can view the entire movie online at archive.org, or wait until the year 2041 when the movie enters the public domain. If you like this video, check out these other two videos for more retrospectives on Disney. This is Rich from Rerun Zone. I'll see you in the next video.